Welcome everyone to another edition of Ask Arlington. Ask Arlington is a show that is dedicated to answering the questions you have about what's happening here in our city. And the holiday season is right around the corner. That also means we need to start thinking about the fats and oils and greases that sometimes go down the pipes that can cause a big problem. And here to talk about that with us is Joe Gildersleeve with the Water Utilities Department. Joe, thanks for being here with us. I know this can be something of an unpleasant topic to talk about, but it's an important one. And I thought we might start out with you kind of describing some of the problems that we see when people do put those fats and oils and greases from the holidays, turkeys and all those things down the drain.
Sure, Jay. Yeah, a lot of times people, especially around the holidays, we've got Thanksgiving and Christmas and other things that come up, and there's a lot of cooking that occurs. Well, there's two things that happen when that. You've got not only the cooking, during those times, but we have colder weather, so grease from cooking tends to get harder and can get into your pipes and actually cause problems where you get a blockage, and then you potentially could even get raw sewer back into your house, which we don't want, and you got to call a plumber out for emergency repair, that kind of thing.
No one wants that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, good. We got some questions that our staff put together that you guys get on a regular basis.
Okay.
And we also had some questions from some of our residents. So let's get to those. This first one, what about the garbage disposal? Is it okay to put food down the drain if you run it through the garbage disposal?
Well, it's funny you bring that up. My wife used to like to feed the garbage disposal too, and I'd always discourage it. We have them obviously, and we have the ability to put things down it, but that's not always the right thing to do. When you have the particulate matter and stuff that goes down with the garbage disposal, you can actually get that to adhere to the grease. It's kind of like glue, the grease is itself, and it just causes restriction in your pipe to eventually where you don't have any more flow going out. And we typically expect when we flush the toilet or we turn on the sink to have that water flow away from us and not be a problem. But if you're not watching out what you're putting down the sewer, it can become a problem for you and the customers downstream from you.
Yeah, so it can just make it bigger, essentially.
Exactly.
Bigger problem. All right, good advice there. Our next one, don't you clean the sanitary sewer mains? So how much of a problem is this really?
Well, it causes overflows in our sewer mains, and one of the things that's bad about that, obviously, is that it can affect the aquatic life and the receiving streams if it gets out of the sewer collection system, and we want to prevent that from occurring, but also it can do the same thing I was talking about where you can have that obstruction occur downstream from where you are, and everybody else that's putting things that shouldn't be in the sewer can all adhere in a certain location, block that flow up, and then it's going to go to the lowest flow or lowest area and could go into somebody's house and cause an obstruction, and you got raw sewage in their house. So it can be a problem for sure. And we do clean the sewers with these Vector trucks, and we can't obviously clean everyone's sewer main out front, but we do have a practice of going around trying to do that.
So think of yourself, but also think of your neighbors, it sounds like as well.
Yeah.
All right, very good. Our next question comes to us from next door. Steve wrote in, not only during the holidays do I need somewhere to take our used cooking oil and fats from meals, I never dump any fat or grease down the drain. It causes nightmares. Instead, I save it all in a big plastic jug. Where can I take that to dispose of it properly when it gets full? So non-holiday times.
Well, I want to point this out too. We do have a collection event that occurs annually for our Grease for Greens. We can talk about that more, but there's also the Environmental Collection Center that we have, and we'll put that information up for the customers to see, but you could take it to that Environmental Collection Center too for drop off, and then they'll recycle it.
Yeah. Well, before we get out of here, since you mentioned Grease for Greens, describe that program for us.
So we started that, I think it was in 2013, and basically what we do is we have a one-day event where folks are allowed to bring their grease in, or oil, cooking oil primarily, for recycling, and they turn it into a biodiesel for our parks. And so at the Tierra Verde golf course is where this all occurs. And so it's a great opportunity to take a waste stream out and then convert it into something we can utilize. And it's a very good, clean fuel that our parks are able to use in their equipment. So prolongs equipment life, and then also we get the benefit of not having to pay for extra fuel.
That is awesome. That's a win-win.
It is.
Very good. Well, Joe, thanks so much for coming in, and thanks for all that you do, especially during this time of year to keep our pipes clean here in Arlington. We appreciate it.
Appreciate it, Jane.
And thank you at home for watching. That'll do it for this episode of Ask Arlington. Tune in next time when we answer more of your questions.